There we go. So the reason why I had the meetings yesterday and today was mainly because starting tomorrow, if you go to the website that's up here, you guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So the website that's up here, you can see the details of what the College Board is trying to do with the AP test. So if you're not already aware, they are changing the test. It's no longer going to be given in person. We don't know when the AP test will be given, but we do know that it's not going to be given in person, and that it's going to be changed to a 45-minute online free response exam. So what that means for you guys is this word right here. My guess, and they haven't come out with the exact details of our exam, which they're going to release on April 3rd. So when you guys check back, if you check back here sometime after April 3rd, you'll find a little bit more details about this, but it is a 45-minute free response exam.
Like FRQ?
Yeah. So
Oh, awesome.
in an effort to curb cheating, the potential of cheating when you're taking a test at home, this is, I'm assuming that that's what this means. I don't have the exact details, and we won't have the exact details till after April 3rd. But I'm going to assume that with this wording here, that it's going to be probably just 2 FRQs, and you'll type your answers online, and they have plagiarism software that they're going to be running them through to prevent cheating, so you guys can't message each other and copy each other in any way. And then that's what I'm assuming is going to happen. It's a 45-minute free response exam. I don't know when it'll be. I do know that it's not going to cover all of the content. And once we know a little bit more about the test, I'm going to have another one of these meetings to talk about what stuff is not on the exam, so you can sort of focus your studying on the things that are on the exam. The other thing that starts tomorrow is the AP, since a lot of the schools are going to be out of school during the review time, and some schools may, including ours, we may not ever come back this school year, which would be really, really unfortunate. But a lot of these kids are going to be missing this review, this AP review. I mean, that's what we were doing essentially after spring break, was reviewing for the AP test. So what the College Board has done is created this. So if you scroll all the way down, they have every AP test in here. And if you go to sciences, you'll see that under AP Environmental Science, starting tomorrow between 1 and 1:45, they're going to be doing live online reviews of every single unit, every single part of every single unit that's on the test. And it's going to go every day. Now, 1 to 1:45 might not work for you, and you might not be available to watch the online review, live online review. So this is going to be recorded. It's a YouTube live. So if you're not online or can't make it tomorrow during 1 and 1:45, at any time, you can go back to these links and watch the video playbacks of what was talked about. So they're giving you these reviews that will run every single day up until the test. And they'll go through essentially every section of every unit, which if you have the time to do that, that might be a good idea to do. Also, we're going to be, if it turns out that we're not going to be coming back to school, then I'll probably be running a couple live online review sessions as well, just to talk about what exactly is on the test, and just some tips things, if it is going to be a free response, then you really can focus on studying the type of responses, like, when it says describe, what do I need to do? When it says identify, what do I need to do? Plus, you can focus more on the big ideas. If it's going to be free response questions, you don't need to focus on little details. Most of the free response questions are big topics, like, it could be mining coal, or it could be some sort of mining of a non-renewable resource. It could be something to do with CO2 in the atmosphere or ocean acidification. These are big topics that you can make sure that that are usually in those FRQs, instead of a smaller, more minor topic. And those are the kind of things that we would go over in a review session. So I know I don't have a lot for you guys. All the information is supposed to be released after April 3rd. So I wanted to catch you guys so that you knew prior to tomorrow that these study sessions are going to be happening on the College Board website. After April 3rd, we'll have another one of these meetings and talk about the details of what exactly is going to be on the test. What's the exact, when is the date of the test? Is there a range of dates? Can you take it anytime within a certain week? We don't know. Is it really going to be FRQs? I'm going to say I'm about 95% sure that this is what it means. Plus, when you're taking tests online, it's really easy to cheat on a multiple choice test. Whereas if you take a free response question, they can run it through plagiarism checkers. And so it's really hard to cheat on a free response type of answer. So that's why I'm guessing that this is what that means. But it's going to be a really big bummer if they close school through the rest of the year. A lot of you guys are seniors. I know they've already canceled prom, and I just hope that you guys have some sort of sense of or some way of doing some sort of graduation for you guys. I don't know what that's going to entail. But then you guys are just seniors. I don't want to ever see you. It's like, we're done. But it would be a big bummer. And I know a lot of you guys worked really hard, and you still want to take this test. I can't imagine if I were in an area where, a lot of the kids don't have access to the internet, or they don't have a computer or an iPad. And this really sort of puts them at a disadvantage. If I don't have a computer at home, or an iPad and limited access to the internet, how I'm going to find a quiet place to take an online exam that depends on whether I get college credit or not. That would be really hard. Do you guys have any questions?
I saw somewhere that they are like cutting certain units out of the test, like units that will just not be on the test in general.
Yeah,
do we have those?
Yes. So no, kind of. You don't have the actual units broke down, but the College Board breaks them down. A lot of AP teachers, the College Board gave us all these units in 1 through 9. And most teachers didn't decide to teach in that order. So it's early in the morning. The College Board presented these units in an order that they thought made sense, but a lot of AP teachers like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm still going to teach it in the same order. So I taught the material in the same order that I've been teaching it. So their units is 8 and 9. So you've already learned the entire class. The assignment that's due this Friday essentially finishes the class. So you guys have gotten all of the information for the entire course, or you will at least. So what I'm going to do is once we know exactly what the test is going to look like around April 3rd, like I said, I'm going to have another one of these, and we're going to talk about what's not on the test. Because I know units 8 and 9, like climate change, climate change is unit 9. So I don't know what what you could talk about that can include climate change. So that really limits on what you can do, because climate change is the last unit. And in the College Board, that's unit 9. And so they're not going to cover unit 9. They're not going to include unit 9 on the test. So I'll go through specifically what things are not on the test when we reconvene after April 3rd.
Okay.
Any other questions about the AP exam?
So we don't have to necessarily take it on the previously scheduled AP exam date.
I'm going to guess that they're going to give you a range of dates. I don't know if it'll be, or maybe it'll be like a day or two, like a certain range of dates and times that you'll be able to take it. But no, it won't be on April or May 11th.
Okay.
Will you, if the AP test is over like an FRQ sort of thing, like you think it'll be, would you be able to do a conference over writing FRQs or anything like that?
Yeah, like I said, when we talk about after April 3rd, and hopefully at some point around there, we'll know what the future is of Noblesville in terms of coming back. But yeah, we'll talk about what the exam entails and what is going to be covered on the exam, or at least could be covered on the exam, and what is not going to be covered on the exam. The details of the dates, and if it's an FRQ, all that stuff is going to be covered. And then I will schedule out through these like Zoom meetings, schedule out like review times, so that you guys can get on there. And if you can't make it during the review time, it's fine. I'll record it just like I'm recording this one right here. I'll record it, and then you guys can go through and play it back. But we'll talk about important things to remember when writing an FRQ. Certain words, what they mean, what you need to put. Probably some hot topics, some topics that are likely to be on an FRQ. Some things that maybe expect to be on there. But yeah, we'll go through overview sessions leading up to the actual exam.
Okay.
Anything? Like I said, I don't have a lot of information right now on the actual AP exam. That's supposed to come out April 3rd. And so, but the reason why I wanted to get on here today and tomorrow and not after April 3rd was to make you guys aware of the study sessions that they're doing starting tomorrow. After April 3rd, when we have more information, we'll get on here again and talk about that. Any questions? How are the labs going?
I mean, I guess it's fine.
It's as good as it can be.
Mackenzie, did you have something to say about that?
Oh, well, I just think that the labs are better for me, at least, to do in person.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Trying to like figure this stuff out, I'm like, oh god.
The hardest part about labs for me was always the setup, like, of the lab on my, like, on the page of the notebook for whatever reason. And so now, like, obviously I can talk to, like, classmates that I'm in contact with, but, like, I'm used to having immediate teacher contact as well, where I could be like, help.
Yeah, that's hard.
It's making me better at it.
That's good. But I completely understand. I was one of those kids that like I wanted to have all my space planned out. It's like, where do I need to put this? How much space do I need for this? And yeah, that's something you just don't get. And you don't get to bounce things off of your classmates and get immediate sort of feedback. It's like a text, and then like a couple hours later, you're getting a response. Yeah, I still wanted to present you guys with the labs and the information and what you're supposed to see, but for me it was really hard to go through the lab by myself and explain it to you guys as if you're here, and then have you guys just watch an abbreviated version of it. Yeah, that part was hard. And then I forgot the plant at school. The plant that for those, well, I guess most of you have done the lab, but where I subjected it to the air pollution, and then I put it in a cup, and I was like, I got to take this home. And that was the day they let us go to school on that Friday, or Monday, I guess it was Monday. And I left it there, and they said, you cannot go to school under any circumstance. I'm like, no, the plant is still there.
Can I please get my plant?
It'll be 2 seconds, I promise. No, and I left it there, and then they let us back in on last Friday, I think. So I ran in there, took a picture of the plant, and so the plant. And for those of you that don't know, the picture of the plant is there now, so you can see what the plant looked like afterwards. It's not good, but hopefully, with that lab, the CO2, the sources of CO2 lab, I know about 10 or so of you guys have turned that in already.
When is that due?
That's due on Wednesday.
Okay.
So tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
I am losing track of days. Someone was saying yesterday in one of these meetings that they have to set alarms for themselves to let them know when classes are, because if you just lose track of time and you don't remember what time is what. At school you just you hear a bell and you go to the next class, and it's not. The sources of CO2 lab is such a fun lab because you guys get out and everybody gets to test their cars and collect the CO2 from their cars, and you get to go around campus and see, what levels of ozone or particulate matter we get. And it's a fun lab and activity, and you just don't, I can't do that over video. Luckily I caught Miss Shotwell leaving the building. It's like, can I borrow your Jeep? I was like, no, I don't need to actually drive it. I just need to collect your CO2. And she's like, okay. So I got to use the CO2 from her Jeep to do the lab. But it's a cool lab, and it's something that, when you're there doing it, it's so much more impactful than just watching it on the video. So I just wanted to know how the labs are going. You have an activity summing up sort of acid rain and ozone and stuff that is due on Friday, and then that's it. Once we know more what the rest of the semester is going to look like, we will talk about what our test is going to look like, what our Unit 10 test is going to look like, what our final exam is going to look like. All these are details I just don't know yet. And so we haven't really been given any sort of direction on finals, and because we don't know what's going to happen after May 1st. So we may, if it turns out we are going to come back after May 1st, then I'll probably hold on to the final exam till after that we come back. But the Unit 10 test is probably going to have to be something that's done online, similar to, I'm probably not going to be able to include FRQs on there. It'll probably just be a multiple choice. You'll just take it on Canvas. It'll be timed. And then I'll just ask for test integrity to do it without cheating and looking up answers. There's not really a lot teachers can do to prevent cheating, but Let's do our best. Any questions about, anything? Anything going on? Any topics you want to talk about or anything before I let you guys go?
What do you think the chance of this whole like house arrest kind of thing extending past 2 weeks?
If I were to give my personal opinion on what I think is going to happen, I don't think we're going to return this year. I have a feeling that this is probably going to run through May. This whole social distancing and stay home sort of thing, I would guess that it's going to go through May, and then we're not going to return back to school, which sucks.
What do you think about like what will happen for summer activities?
I would guess that they're probably going to go on. We have summer school. I would assume that summer school will still be okay. I think by June, I think things should be okay. Though I'm not a virus expert, but I get the feeling that that's sort of when they're expecting things to sort of start dying down. So I would assume that things that are happening in June or July or something like that would go on as planned. Though they just this morning moved the Olympics to 2021. So
Is it true? Do you think it's true that well, let me rephrase that. I guess it's proven that the virus is like not tolerant to heat. So once like spring hits, is that when it'll start to get better, you think?
yeah, well, most viruses don't spread they don't. So the difference between cold and warmer weather is viruses can last longer on surfaces when it's colder. It's the same way that, like, your food, when you put it in the refrigerator, it lasts longer than if I just leave it out. So most viruses don't. There you go. You can see the top of the screen. Most viruses just don't have a long lifespan so it can still spread over summer for sure. People get the flu in the middle of the summer and a colds in the middle of the summer. It's just rare because they don't last long on surfaces like they do in the wintertime. So it should, in theory, die down in the summertime. But since we're not going to have any sort of treatment or vaccine for it for another 9 to 12 months, it's definitely going to be something to look for when it starts to get cold again.
This is sort of off topic, but on the most recent lab, do you want us to just do the conclusion questions?
Which one?
The
CO2 or the air pollution?
The CO2.
Let me pull this up here. Can you see that thing that just opened up in front?
No, it's just.
Do you just see Explorer or Chrome, whatever this is?
Yeah, we still see the AP screen.
So I'm just opening up the lab just to make sure. The CO2 sources. Yeah, it's just those claim evidence and reasoning or explanation things at the end. Just be aware that scientific explanation, again, it's written in a way that it looks like an FRQ. So you need to respond to it the way that you would in an FRQ. So provide the details, environmental impact, make sure you're just putting in the details and explaining why your answers are right.
Okay.
Yep, that's a bummer. That one, we didn't get to do that one. That one's fun. But air pollution lab, and you guys already did that. There was just those conclusion questions at the end you had to answer. If you didn't get it, I know that I'm sure you guys all watched the video, but the very first page of the air pollution lab, just understanding what VOx are and particulate matter and sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and ozone, all those air pollutants, understanding where they come from, how they impact the environment, and how they impact human health. You need to know what all those do to the body. There are some common responses, like we'll talk about when we review for the AP test. Anytime there's something bad, if it talks about the human impact, 99% of the time, you can just say birth defects. Birth defects is like a wild card. Pretty much everything causes birth defects. Smoking, drinking, inhaling anything that you're not supposed to inhale is going to cause birth defects. So those are just tools to have when you go to take, especially if it's going to be an all FRQ AP test. The last thing that's due on Friday is the distance learning. So there's 3 parts to the distance learning. There's one that looks at the Keeling curve. The Keeling curve is, you've seen the Keeling curve probably a half dozen times, but it's the CO2 on the Hawaiian Island on Mauna Loa, where it shows CO2 increasing over time. We've seen that graph a bunch of times. It showed up on the AP test last year too. And almost every time it's on the AP test. So just understanding the Keeling curve, what all that means, that's one part of it. The other part of it is understanding ozone. So for that part, you'll draw a picture and you'll draw like a cross section of the atmosphere. So like the ground, and then the troposphere, which is the layer closest to the earth, and then the stratosphere, which is the next layer, and what's going on in each of those layers. Understand that there's good ozone and bad ozone. Good ozone is in the stratosphere, which protects us from harmful ultraviolet rays. Ozone that's created at ground level is really bad for human health, and that's created from nitrogen dioxide mixing with sunlight. And then there's the third one is on the greenhouse effect. And it just shows how some greenhouse gases are way more potent than others. Like CO2 is a greenhouse gas. It's a big greenhouse gas, but gases like methane and CFCs are way more effective at trapping heat. So obviously we want to limit methane production. So there's 3 different, that last activity that's due on Friday, there's 3 different parts to it that you have to complete. And that's it. Any questions again?
Kind of returning back to the coronavirus thing. Did you see that it was a couple in Arizona who took that
yes.
What
the
is
aquarium
the deal
stuff?
with that? I'm confused about that whole thing.
I actually haven't read that article, so I get I subscribe to the New York Times on here, and so every day it gives me a briefing, and I came across that article and I haven't actually read it yet. So I was going to read that, but we were starting the meeting. There have been several instances where Trump came on and said that this anti-malarial drug could work to cure or treat, the coronavirus. And so somebody who obviously couldn't get a hold of the malaria drug found the active ingredient in something for stuff for an aquarium and decided to, him and his wife, who were both sick, decided to drink it or eat it.
Wow, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, it's always good to eat things from a pet store. And the husband died, and the wife is like in critical condition. It's just shows you the power that you have. I sometimes don't think he understands just when he says something. Well, we've had this conversation before. When he says things, there's a group of people, there's a group of this population that take his words as like, that's the truth. It's the president. It's the truth. Like all the people that probably believe that wind turbines cause cancer, and it's you just when you're president, you have to understand that some people will take what you're saying literally, and it looks like these two people took it literally, and one died because of it. So
I actually heard that he's considering like lifting a bunch of the safety precautions for the virus.
Yeah, I if he decides to do that, I have a feeling that a lot of states are going to just not do that. It's similar to what happened. You guys watched the Paris or Pittsburgh to Paris to Pittsburgh. Where he was like, I'm out of the Paris Climate Accord, and then all these cities and states are like, nope, we're still going to do that. I have a feeling that's if he does that, you're going to see a lot of states and governments just say, no, we're still going to be on quarantine. We're going to listen to the doctors, the experts in this.
That's good.
Yeah. So that would be my belief. I'm not too worried about if he says, all right, we're going to lift all these travel things. I think a lot of the cities and states are probably just going to, because it's the states that originally were responding to the virus. The states were the ones that are originally independently saying, we're closing down, we're shutting down, we're on lockdown, no travel, schools are closing. Like Indiana closed all its schools, and that's the ability that the state has over the federal government, is they can close schools whatever they want, and the federal government can't say anything. So I think a lot of the states will do whatever they feel is necessary, despite what is said.
Okay.
Does the 6 feet apart rule actually work?
That's what they say. It's so funny though. It's not funny. None of this is funny. But when we try to get outside, try to get out in the neighborhood, and we're walking around the neighborhood, and it's interesting to see people out there walking their dogs. But if you're on the same sidewalk and you're walking towards each other, like someone like goes way off. Someone's like, well, I can't walk by them. And like they go in the grass, or they'll just go to the other side of the street. Like everybody is very aware, and they are making sure not to be close to each other, which I had to go to the grocery store yesterday for the first time since all this happened. And people there, it's like, it's people are going down different aisles. Like if there's some people in an aisle, they'll like go, and then they'll turn around and go down a different aisle. Like they won't even go near each other. And then
my mom was at a store yesterday where at the checkout line they had X's taped on the floor where they wanted people to stand.
Yep. Did she go to Meijer?
Yeah. No, she went into a smaller grocery store.
So I was at Meijer, and they had the same X's on the floor. It's like, it says signs that say keep a cart's width distance between the person in front of you. Which, if you have a shopping cart, I guess that's easy. But it's crazy. I've never seen anything like this, and you probably won't ever see anything like this. I was telling the group that was on yesterday, you guys are going to be defined by this. You're like, yep, I was the coronavirus class. Like, and it'll always be ingrained. And, when you're older and telling stories, it'll be like, yep, I was a senior or junior, when this happened. And, like for me, I was a senior in high school when 9/11 happened. So like it's defined by, like, our yearbook had like pages and pages of all these pictures of planes crashing into buildings, and it's like,
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, so
that's kind of morbid.
yeah. So and you guys are going to have this unique situation, and it's. But and you go to the grocery stores and having all the groceries gone. Like, I took pictures yesterday. I was walking around and there's no bread, no juice. There's no, like, my daughter has to drink soy milk, because she's got, so she reacts to cow's milk, and there was no non-dairy milk. It was all regular milk. There was no chicken, turkey, no meats other than like cuts of like steaks. There was no ground beef. There was very little produce. Even that, we needed cat litter. We have a cat, and then we needed cat litter, and all the cat litter's gone. Like, what is going on?
I've decided
Sorry.
these past couple months to stop eating meat, so I thought I would be okay, but turns out all the vegetarian like meat protein options are gone too, and I'm so confused.
Yeah, my sister lives up in Minnesota, and she says, yeah, I haven't had any issues at all. She's vegan, so like all the vegan options apparently are still there. People haven't got to that point yet where they're like, all right, I guess I'll eat vegan. They're eating all the meat and stuff's gone, but not like the vegan stuff. But yeah, all the salads, like pre-made salads, and a lot of the produce is gone. It's
Do you
crazy.
think that we'll have a big decrease in produce?
You mean going forward?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to get any worse in terms of the grocery stores.
Okay, that's good.
I think a lot of the people, the other day, Saturday morning, someone sent me a picture. There were 750 people waiting in line at Meijer.
Oh my gosh.
That's just crazy. Like, there's enough food in the store. If everybody just went and got what they needed, that it would be fine. But people are, taking this social distance. I don't want to go to the store ever. So they're buying everything, spending hundreds of dollars, buying everything they can at the store. All the pasta's gone. All the things that last a long time are gone. So I think that if anything, it's going to get better because those people have bought groceries for weeks, and so they're not going to need to go to the store anymore. So I think it'll start to get better as less and less people are rushing to the store to get a bunch of stuff.
Okay, that's good.
Yesterday there was nobody at the store. It was like a ghost town. It was like 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. There's like no one there. So, anything else? Colton, Nathaniel, anything?
No.
All right. Well, like I said, next week, right? April 3rd. Is that next Friday? It's April 3rd. I'm all lost track of days. We have April 1st is next Tuesday. So next Thursday is April 3rd. Sometime after that, it'll probably be the following week. So April 7th. whatever that Monday and Tuesday is afterwards, I'll probably hold another one of these meetings and talk about what is going to happen with the AP tests, as by then they will have hammered out all the details of what exactly is going to happen. And we'll have another one of these, online chats. And then we'll talk about where we're going to go from there. By then, I'll also have an idea of, what your Unit 10 test will look like. And so we can get that figured out. But there's no other questions. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. Let me know if you have any questions about the activities, the lab, anything. And if I don't talk to you between now and then, you guys, it's kind of weird to say have a good spring break. It's pretty much it's exactly what's happening right now. So good.
Good.
Mhm.
All right. Well, like I said, let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.